Good morning. I'm Beth. I am the Fitness Princess, and I am here today to continue with our conversation about finding food freedom. Now, for me, if you've been around here long, you know my story with binge eating, and I've shared many times of the struggles that I have gone through. But I want to back up just a few years and share a little bit more of my story, dig a little deeper to share with you how I got to that point. When we were living in St. Louis, my husband was traveling for work, and I didn't settle real well in St. Louis because my husband had always said we'll be back in Oklahoma City. That's where his corporate headquarters are, and so I knew to some extent that someday we would be moving. And so for me, I put those walls up around my heart and I didn't allow myself to settle in St. Louis. So no one's to blame except for myself, and I've learned a very important lesson through that. But in the time that he was traveling in St. Louis, I was very lonely. Um, like I said, I didn't settle well. I didn't have a whole lot of friends. I had a couple, but I didn't have a whole lot, and I was feeling very lonely. I was used to being the girl with lots of friends and lots of opportunities to hang out with people. And specifically because I was alone, my husband was gone, I could have had any number of people over to hang out. And I didn't have that opportunity. People have their own lives, they're busy, and we just didn't make time for each other. And so I was feeling very lonely, very broken, very lonely in that moment. I was still trying to figure out who in the world Beth Brandstetter was. Um, Going from a single independent girl to being a married wife, trying to figure out what my title was, who I was, and where I belonged. And that was a huge transition in and of itself. And so I had a lot of these emotions coming up, and I didn't know exactly where to turn to. And I was looking in all of the wrong places. God gives us desire. He gives us desire for friendship. He gives us desire for companionship, for wanting to be a wife. He gives us those desires. And ultimately, it's up to us what we do with those desires. For me, I was trying to find friendship and trying to find happiness and trying to find my identity in the world and not in him. And so I was feeling all of those things, and I was crying a lot, and I was on the phone with my mom a lot, trying to figure out how I was going to find my life. And it wasn't until we moved to Oklahoma City last year when I realized that I was so broken that I needed to figure out. Sorry, I didn't think I was going to cry. I needed to figure out how to get my life together. And so when I had realized that because of losing Granny, because I had started eating all the wrong foods and I was allowing myself to eat all of these foods in the same setting, and I had realized that I was binging on these foods, I realized that I needed help. And I cried out to God for several weeks before I ever heard him speak to me. And what he said when he finally spoke to me was this. Sorry. He said, Beth, you're trying to fill the emptiness in your heart with food. It is not a food-shaped hole. It is a God-shaped hole. And the only thing that can fill your heart is me. Yep, I needed to hear that. I needed an awakening. I needed to figure out how to put him first in my life. And so I continued to pray. As with any relationship, if you want to fix a relationship, you have to communicate. And So I started praying and asking him what to do, and I started reading his word every day. I started making him a priority in my life. And when I did that, I started to see changes. I started to see changes in my heart. I was happier, and I was beginning to make friends, and I was seeing those changes just because I decided to make him a priority. Now, I read a lot of books in this period, and I want to share a quote with you from one of the books that I will talk about at a later date. It says, God made us capable of craving so we'd have an unquenchable desire for more of Him and Him alone. Nothing changes until we make the choice to redirect our misguided cravings to the only one capable of satisfying them. So we need to put Him first. Maybe it's not food that you're struggling with, and my dog is gonna bark. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's not food. Maybe it's something else. Maybe sorry, I've gotta go somewhere else. Maybe it is alcohol. Maybe it is, fill in the blank, whatever. I don't know what it is that could be filling that void in your heart, that you are really seeking something and you really need Him to fill that. Because in Him you find true happiness. You find that friendship. You find joy. In Him you find all of that. And that is what I found. So if you are struggling, if you're seeking after something and you're still not content, seek Him first. Make Him a priority. Work on your relationship with Him, and you will see the changes in your own life. So that's my tip for today. Come back tomorrow, and I will share another tip in finding food freedom. Hope you're having a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye.